9 things you ought to know about Godzilla vs. Kong 2021. So the epic trailer of the epic showdown is finally out, and boy, oh boy, it is ab-so-lute-ly out of this world. The Big G and Kong battling was epic enough, but then MonsterVerse decided to make things even more amazing by burning a whole lot of fireworks and introducing quite a few new titans as well. It was probably tough to keep up with all the reveals in the trailer, but the party's just getting started. And here are 9 things that you ought to know about Godzilla vs. Kong 2021. Number 9. Godzilla, surprisingly, the antagonist. Well, as clear as it seems to be in the trailer, it still comes in to be a little bit of a surprise. Yes, the Big G, who we're usually used to seeing as the savior of the planet, especially in the MonsterVerse, is actually a villain. In fact, just like the original 1962's Kong vs. Godzilla, Papa Goji will be doing a lot of the destruction. In the opening scene itself, we can see what's likely meant to be a Godzilla attack on a town, with the military forces making futile attempts trying to protect it, and people fleeing to hide in the subways. In another scene, we can see Godzilla arriving in style, tearing through one of the Monarch ships with his dorsal fins. Well, there's also the part where Godzilla swats one of the fighter jets with his tail, and in a different scene, Godzilla goes on a rampage. Now, this degree of antagonism is unlike Godzilla's character, and rather more usual to that of the titans he typically opposes. Maybe Godzilla's really gone crazy in this movie. But then wait, there's another possibility, and we'll discuss that in the next point. Number 8. Mechagodzilla disguising as Godzilla. 2 seconds into the trailer, and in another scene, we could clearly see what's supposed to be the mechanized titan Mechagodzilla. Apart from that, one shot also provides a dark hint about the existence of this conspiracy, exposing what Mechagodzilla's plans seem to be. But then, is it really Mecha G after all? Well, the credits scene in Godzilla King of the Monsters clearly revealed that Monarch was building a mechanized giant on Skull Island. Yeah, so Mechagodzilla will definitely appear in this film, although this again raises a whole lot of possibilities. Maybe the Big G's being framed? Maybe it's not Godzilla who's causing all this destruction, but rather the mechanized titan. Or has Godzilla gone berserk because humanity has become an imbalance in nature? If you ask me, then my bet is that it's probably the robotic imposter Mechagodzilla in the Big G's disguise. After all, we've already seen the Mecha Kaiju do the same in the Toho films, particularly the Godzilla vs. Mechagodzilla films. Nevertheless, no matter what the case, I think it's reasonable to assume that the third act will finally see Kong and Godzilla put up a united front against the mechanized terror. Oh boy, I'm getting goosebumps already. Number 7. Monarch covers up a map of Godzilla attacks. So, the Godzilla vs. Kong trailer moves on to reveal a world map with quite a lot of annotations. Now, that's an interesting sign of just how far the MonsterVerse has matured ever since 2014's Godzilla. Primarily because it can be contrasted quite effectively with Joe Brody's conspiracy theory maps in that film. And Monarch, which was supposed to be a top-secret scientific organization, is now the talk of the town, or rather, every town in the world. And the existence of titans is something known by all. The reasons for this, again, is because of Godzilla's rampage. Talking about that particular map itself, if you pause the trailer and look closely, a number of notes on the map refer to a company called Apex. Now, this company is believed to be a cybernetics company, so it's quite possibly that Apex is the company constructing Mechagodzilla, and maybe the real Godzilla's attacks are actually on sites where Apex is conducting this research. Now, we're not 100% certain, but then again, why would Monarch be trying to hide the trail map of Big G's attacks? Maybe we'll find out soon enough. Number 6. Kong battles 2 new titans, Nozuki and Warbat. Now, this introduction's pretty dope. The highly anticipated Nozuki and Warbat finally make their presence known, and they appear to be fighting our island homeboy, Kong. But then these 2 titans battling Kong isn't the only interesting part in that particular scene. A closer inspection of the battle shot reveals that the vegetation is quite interesting and reminds of a Jurassic environment. perhaps suggesting the hollow Earth is a place where evolution is paused. Talking about the Titans, both Nozuki and Warbat have serpent-like bodies with huge wings. Although Nozuki has orange and yellow bat-like wings, reminiscent of Titanus Quetzalcoatl, while Warbat's wings are red. The official description of these two Titans goes like this. Also, there's a possibility that a bone of one of these two Titans probably makes up the shaft of Kong's new axe weapon. Well, it has the Big G's dorsal plate for the blade, so it's only natural for the shaft to be made up by another Titan. Number 5. Hollow Earth and the UFO scene. The MonsterVerse already confirmed the existence of aliens in the King of the Monsters film. After all, Ghidorah itself was an alien, and there's actually been some speculation about others that exist in the hollow Earth at the planet's core. The final section of the Godzilla vs. Kong trailer contains a number of mysteries, including what appears to be a UFO in the background, and that cements the existence of these aliens even more. That's clearly an alien spaceship of some kind. And if you've noticed the blue energy emissions, that may suggest the battle between Kong and Godzilla somehow heads to the hollow Earth. Number 4. Kong's motives as a protective god. So, in the first section of the trailer, we see that it builds to a climax in a powerful scene in which a girl reaches out to touch the finger of a chained-up Kong. This shows the benevolent and protective nature of the great ape, sharing a moment of connection with humanity. With the showdown drawing closer, it looks like Kong could be building some empathy as the hero of the story. This imagery itself is reminiscent of Michelangelo's painting of God and Adam on the ceiling of the Sistine Chapel, and suggests this child worships Kong as a protective god. Appropriately enough, that's indeed the role humanity hopes Kong will perform on their behalf by defeating Godzilla. But, then again, is it really the Big G that he has to defeat as a protective god, or is there another sinister enemy? Number 3. Myth into reality. Okay. Now, the final section of the trailer is dedicated to placing the clash between those two Alpha Titans in its mythological context. It would seem that the history between man and Titan in the MonsterVerse was more complicated than it was originally thought. Also, it appears the humans and not the monsters were the villains of the story. But then, what are these myths? Well, the myths being referred to are actually the legend of the ancient Titan War. At the beginning, humans did indeed worship Titans, but things changed when humans somehow developed a method of telepathic communication with the Titans. These ancient humans sought to gain control over the Titans, who they believed could be used for purposes of warfare. The Titans became slaves to the humans, but some were able to rebel against their masters. As a result, a war ignited between them. And there are alarming similarities between this legend and Monarch's attempt to use Kong against Godzilla. And it's very much possible that the girl seen earlier in the trailer has a telepathic bond with Kong. The myths are real. There was a war. And maybe there's going to be another one. Number 2. Kong and Godzilla, the last one standing. The Godzilla vs. Kong trailer builds to a climax with the revelation the two Alpha Titans are the last ones standing from this ancient Titan war. The war that seemingly saw both their ancestors fight against each other for the supremacy over the world. Kong is the last one of his kind, still alive, with most of his ancestors being killed by the skull crawlers, and in the same way, Godzilla too remains the last one of his kind. Just like the skull crawlers, the Muto, or rather Muto Prime, wiped out most of the Big G's ancestors, almost driving the entire species to extinction. So now, only Godzilla and Kong remain as the last one standing. Number 1. One will fall. The showdown between Godzilla and King Kong has been greatly anticipated since the early days of the MonsterVerse, when it first became clear that cinema's two most famous beasts would be fated to share the screen, or rather battle against each other. And the Godzilla vs. Kong poster already foreshadowed the fated duel between the Titans with the phrase "one will fall," and the trailer follow-up on it too. With both monsters having been somehow played as heroes in the past films, it'll be interesting to see how their vendetta begins, and who winds up victorious when Godzilla vs. Kong releases. At the same time, however, it wouldn't come as a surprise to see the two Titans team up against a common adversary at the end of the day. With UFOs, aliens, and Mechagodzilla in the mix, a lot of things are bound to change. So, that was all for today's video, folks. Hope you enjoyed the video. Thanks for watching. If you liked the video, don't forget to like, share, subscribe, and do check out our previous videos too. This is Factholic, and we'll see you around next time with hopefully another MonsterVerse video. Peace.